All right, everybody, welcome back to the channel and welcome to this week's edition of the news. In this week's edition, we're gonna go over some X1C update weirdness, some A-series printer update weirdness. Where the heck has Orca Slicer been? We'll take a look at the impact of 3D printing at CES in 2026. We'll take a look at Creality's new entry, the Sparx i7, and we'll finish it off with spoiled milk, a new different type of printing material. So if all that sounds good, then sit back and relax and let's dig into the news. All right, so let's talk about some bugs in the firmware of the X1C. I have also seen some weirdness with the nozzle stuff too. This particular one is the current nozzle setting does not match the slicing file. Continuing to print may affect the print quality. I have seen this once or twice since November, but I haven't been able to capture it on film here. This is a pretty interesting read. If you go through this little form here, there's a couple of things that it looks like are going on. One of the things here is he's printing on an SD card that were sliced before the update. I believe one of these updates brought in the different nozzles, like the high flow nozzle or something. I think there's some blurbs around here with the high flow nozzle, and that may be doing it, but it almost sounds like if you have some things that were sliced before, like on an SD card or something like that, and you update the firmware and you get this error, you may need to reslice those items. So you can dig through here, got the same issue, reselected the correct nozzle in the settings, double checked everything, file says it wants 0.4, all of that. Printing the same part for a long time, looks, tastes, and smells like a bug. So even more recently, and I'm getting updated 17 days ago, upgraded to 111.02, getting the same error. I was getting the same error pop-up. Drilling down to the nozzle settings via my X1C's touchscreen revealed that it was undefined unknown. Should have taken a pic. Same thing, I've seen some weird things that did take a pic. After setting it to the correct nozzle type, the X1C finally just prints when I hit print. So if you have an X1C and you've encountered any of these fun issues, leave us a comment below and tell us about your experience with it. All right, so a few months ago, we saw some error messages in the forum for the A1 around error, filament tangled or spool stuck, but everything was okay. There were several different entries into here. And if you do have a stuck spool or something like that, there are a couple of things that they ask you to check. So go through the, this little guide for the detection. I haven't seen this in a while, but this has happened to me on some older rolls. And I still do have some older rolls of stuff that I haven't used all the way down, but I do remember like almost a knot being done in these, so make sure you check your spool as well. But then I saw on Reddit that somebody else, after the latest update just 2 days ago, was having the same type of problem with the filament getting stuck after the update, and then the same thing on the P1S. Not sure if these are connected or not, but it looks very similar to the same type of issues that people were having before, which weren't tied to just normal tanglement or the spool tangled or anything like that. So be on the lookout if you're an A1 series 3D print owner, and let us know in the comments if you've seen any of these issues pop up here recently. All right, it was about a year ago in last January when we were talking about all of the new third-party integration updates and upgrades and all of the things that were breaking with Bambu and having to use the Bambu Connect and all of that and worried about it breaking like third-party slicers. And for me as a H2D user, it has broke using Orca Slicer or anything like that. And if you remember, their response to it was that that their proposed integration method would not provide meaningful value. And it was right after this that the H2D was launched and everything, and we got it on our hands and everything. And since then, really for me, Orca Slicer hasn't been on the radar. And this really was the go-to, and like one of the most popular videos that I have on my channel are all around Orca Slicer. And I haven't really used it for the H2D at all. And I guess there's some support for it, but even people now with the H2D support are, reporting issues with it and everything like that. So it sounds like you have to like turn LAN mode on, developer mode, turn off the network mode in Orca Slicer, stand on one leg, hold your left eyebrow higher than the right, and a whole bunch of other stuff just to get it to work. So it doesn't seem like it's as handy as it once was. Are any of you out there using Orca Slicer with the H2D or H2S or your H2C or anything like that? Is it really a pain in the butt? Should I do another video and try to do a print with Orca Slicer and see where we are at? So I thought this would be interesting to kind of take a look at it. It still looks like it may not be fully integrated, or at least not without jumping through a bunch of hoops. So when I talked to the CEO of Helio, we talked about what the future of 3D printing held for us. And what we talked about was 3D printing becoming mainstream and being more ubiquitous with just everything that we can do. And I think this year at CES, if you look at all of the different innovation within 3D printing that was there, we're starting to see that it is for the masses and it is for the consumer, everything like that. Lots of different multicolor, hue forge, different types of things, all of these different things on display at CES. Interestingly enough, Palette, let's talk about them. Before I got an X1C in my first Bambu printer, I was gonna get their filament mixer. So they had this crazy contraption where you could do, I think, 6 or 8 colors, and it like actually measured out the filament and cut it and spliced it together. It was super hard. I'm really glad I kind of wish I would have had it just so we could compare it. But I bet that thing was super duper hard to get to work. And I was going to do that with my Creality printer as well, and I'm sure that wouldn't have worked out as well. So it's interesting to see them with a full multicolor printer these days as well. So now let's dig into one of those printers from CES. All right, so let's take a look at one of these new 3D printers that's aimed at the masses and aimed at the consumers. And really the Sparx i7 3D printer from Creality is definitely one of those. So multicolor, really looks like the A1 series. I think even the poop chute is on the other side, but looks very, very similar and coming in at a very competitive price point with that. It looks like it starts early bird drop January 6th through the 20th. Creality Cloud membership, $80 value. That's where they want to get the beginners, and they want them to pay for some cloud stuff to send your 3D print over your own network. Yeah, so I didn't notice that till right now, but what are your thoughts on the Creality Cloud membership? Just when I thought they were turning things around, they sneak up and do some dumb stuff. Let me know in the comments what you think about the Creality Cloud membership. All right, and let's finish off this week's edition of the news with something pretty interesting. So there's some new biocomposite materials for 3D printing that are using milk proteins. So some folks are out there looking at all of the millions of tons of dairy products that are wasted each year and looking at how we could use this to print with our 3D printer. So some folks at the University of Wisconsin-Platteville have developed a 3D printing biocomposite material made of PLA and the milk protein casein, I guess is what that's called. Preliminary test and specimens printing using this biocomposite material show elasticity, tensile strength, and impact strength measurements comparable with specimens printed using PLA alone. Additionally, these researchers have developed a resin containing casein or whatever that is for use in vat photo or resin 3D printing. So this is super interesting that you could use, rotten milk or spoiled milk to 3D print now. Who would have known? This is a really, really cool article to learn about all of this. So take a look at all of the benefits and applications and everything that they're doing, and be on the lookout for 3D printing biocomposite materials using milk proteins. All right, that's going to wrap it up for this week's edition of the news. If you liked any of the topics from this week, be sure to smash that like button and be sure to smash the subscribe button so you don't miss the next one. Be sure to join us after the news today for the live stream and see what all of our friends have been printing and get some helpful tips and tricks and see how all of the different filaments print in real life. That's going to do it for today. I appreciate everybody watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your weekend. Thanks for watching.